So I saw Deadpool and Wolverine last night, and I definitely have a lot to say about this movie. But before we get started, welcome to Burnt Sushi, where we do mainly entertainment reviews and analysis and essays, mainly on Japanese content, and occasionally the movie here and there, which today I'm going to talk about. So if you guys are interested in that type of content, please subscribe and like the video. Well appreciated. So Deadpool and Wolverine is the third movie in the Deadpool trilogy, which stars again Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine. And when it comes to casting, as far as actors portraying a superhero or a comic book character, I think Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are absolute A-listers when it comes to adapting these characters. It's one of those things where you don't really see any other actor really replacing them as these characters. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. You get what I'm trying to say. Also, before I continue, spoilers ahead. So the plot of Deadpool is that Wade Wilson is living a mediocre life. He's a mediocre car salesman, and basically his life has no purpose, and he's trying to find purpose in joining the Avengers, but he gets denied. And really the movie is setting up this plot that Deadpool is trying to find his place in the world, and he gets that when that organization, that Time organization, I forget the name, he gets recruited by this organization, but if he does join them, his universe is going to be destroyed, which of course Deadpool doesn't take the liking to, so he goes about his own business trying to find a replacement Wolverine, because somehow one person in his universe can cause it to be destroyed if that entity is gone. And to me, that's just very strange how one person can determine the fate of a whole universe, but hey, whatever. So Deadpool now is going through different dimensions, different multiverses, trying to find a replacement Wolverine, because the one in his universe is dead, of course, which was Logan. And the Wolverine that he finds is basically a Wolverine who made a lot of mistakes. He lives in regret. All of his friends are dead. And basically the movie is about their dynamic having to work together to save the universe, which in typical comic book fashion is to destroy this machine that's going to destroy everything. If I'm being honest, I think this is the weakest out of the Deadpool movies. I definitely still believe that the first Deadpool movie was the best Deadpool movie because it felt grounded. There wasn't no big universal stakes, and I believe the writing and the jokes are more tighter in that film. I personally believe characters like Spider-Man and Deadpool do better on a very grounded level. Not anything having to do with saving the universe or the world or mankind as we know it or the multiverse. Because one thing about movies that are all about saving the world or saving the multiverse is that you feel very detached from the stakes. Nothing feels personal anymore, and the whole multiverse plotline is really getting stale at this point. A big gripe I have with the modern comic book movies is that they feel more like comic book movies rather than a movie adapting a comic book. One thing about American comics is that you don't feel any stakes to the stories, because in American comics there's a nature of things being rebooted, resurrections, characters coming back, so you know when a character dies, they're not really dead. With the whole multiverse plotline with the MCU, you never really feel that characters are dead or things are at stake, because if one character dies, we can just pull another character from a different multiverse and, you know, they're back. Again, for a character like Deadpool, who I feel is very much more grounded, I think a much more non-grandiose plotline would have worked more for this character. And seeing this is the MCU's first R-rated film, because now Deadpool is part of the MCU, of course the writers will take a lot of liberties in making a lot of adult humor and adult jokes. However, I do feel like in this film, it's sometimes a bit too much. Some jokes are funny, I will admit, but then there's a lot of other jokes, about half of them, that don't really land for me. A lot of sexual and gay jokes. It just seems like most of Deadpool's humor is mainly about sex, which I'm pretty sure the writers could come up with more jokes that doesn't always revolve around sex or, you know, being gay or whatever. And seeing as Deadpool is a character that breaks the fourth wall very often, it is a cool concept, but I do believe the writers kind of drive it into the ground. Like, if you do it tastefully, I like that, but when every other joke is about some reference to the real world, it kind of gets stale for me too quickly. But I will say this movie looks fantastic. I love the costumes, I love the visuals. I really do believe this film looks gorgeous. For me, the highlight of this movie was definitely Wolverine. Hugh Jackman did a wonderful job like he always does. The writers really make Deadpool like a Looney Tunes character, so there's many times where there could be a chance for seriousness and depth, but it has to be ruined by a joke. So having Hugh Jackman there to really balance it out really helped this movie. Hugh Jackman brought a lot of emotion and depth to this story, which a lot of times I feel like is missing from Deadpool movies, even though I know he's meant to be a more funny character. When you're off the wall funny and there's like no sense of like groundedness, then you kind of lose me. But again, Hugh Jackman was probably the best out of everybody in this movie. The pacing was also all over the place. This movie felt very sluggish. I don't think it needed to be 2 hours long. This movie could have easily been a little over an hour, maybe hour 30, hour 20. I think there was a lot of fat that could have been trimmed, and the pacing was just all over the place. It's like One second the characters are focused, next second they're fighting. Deadpool and Wolverine, they're always, it just seems like the plot doesn't know where it wants to go sometimes. And even though this movie is kind of setting up the plot that Deadpool is trying to find his place in the world and Wolverine is kind of getting his redemption arc, I don't really feel like they get that in the end. It's a happy ending at the end of the film, but I really don't feel like their character arcs really ended the way it should, or at least ended the way the writers were trying to set it up to be. And the villains were okay. That guy from that, what do you call it, TV something, the organization, he felt like a very flat character, kind of like your villain of the week kind of archetype. And then the sister of Charles Xavier, I think that she had a lot of potential. I liked how vicious she was, that she wasn't afraid to kill people in an instant. But I don't think the script really did much with her character. I think that if she had more time to bake in the oven, she could have been more, but she ended up just being, hey, we got to get rid of this person because they're activating a machine that will destroy the whole world and we got to stop her. I think she didn't really live up to her hype, really. Then we get the cameos of everyone who's been in past comic book films for the last 25 years. It was nice seeing them, but I do feel like in today's day and age, callbacks and cameos to other past movies are kind of getting stale. It's like, oh guys, look at this. Remember these guys from this franchise or this old character? To me, it feels like surface level engagement. Like, you want me to be excited that these characters are here, but since it's been done so many times in the past, it doesn't have that same, oomph anymore. And seeing X-23 was great, seeing how older the actor got who played this character. But even her kind of arc with Wolverine, I feel like that even didn't really end the way it should have, or there wasn't a good payoff for that. What a lot of modern comic book movies do is that they add so much elements to a movie, it doesn't feel like it's a streamlined plot. It just feels like a whole bunch of ideas kind of mixed into one movie. I was really excited for this movie, but the movie's okay for me. There's two kinds of people that will approach this movie. If you like just brain dead action and fun, and you just like to see banter between Wolverine and Deadpool, you're gonna like this movie. But if you're someone who's looking for more than what we've been getting recently with any kind of superhero film or TV show, if you're like me, this movie won't really do it for you. I really do miss that 2000s era of comic book movies like the Sam Raimi films that had the characters more grounded. It felt real, self-contained stories, not no big multiverse and all these other characters meeting each other. I mean, just look at No Way Home. What made that movie for me was the fact that Sam Raimi villains came in and they made the story more serious. Like the fact that we had to grab villains from a different series, a different universe, Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus, to give some weight, some stakes to the story. That says something about the movies of old. How I felt like the writers took the stories more seriously and there was more grounded. It's the same how I felt about Wolverine in this movie. Wolverine brought that depth, but Deadpool was still, kind of like that modern MCU feeling. But I'll say this, if you're looking for just a good time, just a way to turn off your brain and enjoy a good film, this movie's for you. But if you want something more from your modern day comic book movies, this might not do it for you. Overall, great action. The visuals are fantastic. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool killed it. Characterization on point. A lot of different cameos, didn't really mean much to me. Overall, it was a good film. So I apologize for not uploading videos. I've been very sick recently and a lot of other things going on, but moving forward, I should be releasing videos more frequently. If you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps with YouTube pushing my channel and all that good stuff. And if you guys are interested, please check out one of these videos here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.